with his job on the line. Mr. Price, a physician and former Georgia congressman, spent much of the day posing for photo ops, receiving his flu shot, and attending a panel on the opioid crisis with First Lady Melania Trump. In a statement, he expressed regret over the cost to taxpayers and said he would write a personal check to the Treasury to cover his expenses. "The taxpayers won't pay a dime for my seat on those planes." Mr. Price also said that he would cooperate with the department's Inspector General's office on a review of his travel. The episode comes amid heightened scrutiny surrounding the pricey travel habits of several other cabinet members, including Scott Pruitt, the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. But the president is said to have grown particularly frustrated with Mr. Price over the past week, as Politico published a series of reports detailing the secretary's spending. The newspaper said Mr. Price took at least 26 flights on private jets, including to Nashville, where his son lives, and where Mr. Price owns a condominium, and to St. Simons Island, a Georgia resort area, where Mr. Price owns property, and recently spoke at a medical conference. Mr. Price also booked a charter flight that included a leg to Philadelphia from Dulles International Airport in Virginia, a distance of about 130 miles. Mr. Price told Mr. Baer that all were undertaken with his agency's approval. Mr. Baer pressed him on the cost of that travel, which Politico estimated at over $400,000, a number that has not been disputed, and asked why Mr. Price had only offered to pay back only $51,887. Mr. Price said that amount covers the cost of his seat on the trips, and the total bill remains under review. On Thursday night, Politico reported that the White House approved Mr. Price's flying on United States military aircraft to travel to Europe, Asia, and Africa for official events, at a cost of more than $500,000. The military flights were approved by Joe Hagen, a White House deputy chief of staff, an administration official confirmed, and Raj Shah, a White House spokesman, said such travel is sometimes an appropriate and necessary use of resources. Combined, the total cost to taxpayers for Mr. Price's flights comes to more than $1 million, according to Politico. In recent days, Mr. Trump fumed to senior aides about the negative headlines over Mr. Price's travel and the damage it was personally causing the president, according to 3 officials with direct knowledge of the situation. On Wednesday, Mr. Trump rebuked Mr. Price for his travels. "I am not happy," Mr. Trump told reporters. "I'm going to look at it. I am not happy about it, and I let him know it." The president's anger has escalated over the past 24 hours and has told at least one person close to him that he reserves the right to fire Mr. Price if new revelations come to light that reflect badly on Mr. Trump. Asked if Mr. Price's job was in jeopardy, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, declined to comment, except to say, "We'll see what happens." Mr. Price's announcement that he would reimburse the government for the cost of his seats on the private flights blindsided administration officials and raised questions about whether it was legal to do so, according to two people close to the White House. Additionally, one official said Mr. Price's offer could set a precedent for others in the administration to repay their own travels. Mr. Price's office responded with a statement from a spokeswoman who said the secretary is in close contact with the White House. He made this decision not because there was a legal responsibility, but because, as he stated in his interview earlier today, he thought this was the right thing to do. Mr. Nuchin used a government jet for a trip to Kentucky that included viewing the Aug.21 solar eclipse. And Mr. Pruitt has taken at least 4 non-commercial flights since February, at a cost of $58,000 to taxpayers, according to documents obtained by The Washington Post. The travels by senior Trump administration officials and their costs to taxpayers have elicited a rare bipartisan outcry in Congress. Representative Ted Lieu, Democrat of California, on Thursday introduced the Stop Waste and Misuse by Presidential Flyers Landing, Yet Evading Rules and Standards, Swamp Flyers, Act. Senator Charles E. Grassley, Republican of Iowa and chairman of the Judiciary Committee, publicly urged Mr. Trump to curb the spending of cabinet secretaries, considering the many travel options to and from Washington, D. Mr. Price, who is already poised to shoulder some of the blame for the failed Graham Cassidy healthcare effort, may have one main saving grace. Mr. Trump has few options of people who want his job, according to White House officials.